Hey there, it's Tricia with Easy Emini Trade and another really good day for breakdown trades. So I just want to show you again how you can decide to take a breakdown or not, and I'll show you one on ES as well. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email, and I will definitely do a webinar next week on taking breakdown, breakout trades. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to show you really quickly on a 15 and a 60-minute chart, and then how you can incorporate it, using the tails on, any of the larger charts. But this is before the open at 9:30. So if we look over here at our volume, we can see, we have, really no real openings in between these volume nodes. So realistically, price will get stuck at each one of those, generally speaking, right, in theory. So we're looking to see, where we might be able to capitalize. At this point, we don't know if it's going to be to the upside, the downside. Obviously, pre-market, it moved lower. But if you look at yesterday, it's still within yesterday's trading range. So if it is easier, you just draw some lines where you see the start and finish of wherever the high volume areas are. And so if you just draw a line in a couple of those areas, you're going to decide if there's enough room to even try it. So in this instance, you may be looking possibly, if everything lines up, is possibly a breakout above this topping tail on this 15. But really doesn't make much sense to try a breakout there because you've got big volume right above you. So the chances are it's going to get stuck there. So not really an ideal spot for a breakout, right? Now down here, you can see that we've got this volume area right here around 76.03, and then you have an opening down here to approximately, let's just say 97.25. So if you had another confirmation of some sort to take a breakdown at 76.03, then you would expect it to likely get stuck at 97.25. So if you start out your day just kind of deciphering where the areas are, then you'll be prepared. And obviously we don't get crazy directional moves every single day, but it's nice to be able to capitalize on them when they do keep going. So if I scrunch this up, I'm just going to scrunch it up. So before the open today, I had drawn those areas, right? And then I've got this area right here where we have this little volume node at 94.25, let's say, and then the next opening would be down here at, say, 85.75, right? If you look here, we do have a big bottoming tail on this 15-minute from yesterday. So realistically, we could short under that area, anticipating the next area of support to be hit, which would be the 85 area. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to scrunch this up so you can see the general areas where I'm going to draw my lines. So now I've got this area here is pretty full to 76, but from 76, realistically, all the way down to like 64, we have a big wide opening, right? And you can do it looking at a 60-minute. It doesn't really matter what size chart you're looking at. You're just trying to get the area of the idea of how much room you have. If it should break, where is it likely going to get stuck? So if it breaks this bottoming tail here from yesterday, then likely it's going to get stuck here. And that falls in line with the low from yesterday. So in looking at this, I'm just going to scroll over now to today. And you can see we bust through all those areas. Now, it doesn't look like you hesitated very much here on the 15, but realistically, we're looking at it on the 5-minute chart. So I'm going to just show you that on the 5-minute chart. And, if it keeps going, obviously, if we only had these high volume areas down to 64 drawn, then just open up your 60-minute and go lower. So if we were to do the same areas, you're going to get the same vicinities on these 60-minute. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to draw them. So now below us at this point before the open, we've got the areas that we mentioned. And then we've got 77, 63.75, 55.75, 37 and a quarter, 20 and a quarter, and then 98.75, right? So I'm just going to leave this up. And then what did I say here? Okay, so what I did was I have the lines that we just did on the 60 and the 15 drawn on the 5 minute. So here's the open, and we've got all those little openings drawn. You can't see, volume on the left here at the 5 minute because I'd have to scrunch it up really big, but we just looked at it on the 15 and 60, so we've got them drawn here on this chart. So now we open and price trades, and then we wind up with this big bottoming tail on the 5 minute chart. And we know that realistically, buyers pushed it back up, so there could be a lot of sell stops under this 92. So we actually shorted the 92 area, anticipating, a reaction. Well, we waited till we broke it, but we put an order there at 92 based on that tail, and it actually gets to the 85, trades through it, and then trades to our next high volume area at 76.50. And then you'll notice, where does it go again? It trades through to our next high volume area at 64 and holds down here at the 55.75. Trades down to the next area that we drew based on high volume, down there at 37 and a quarter. So just having an idea of where those openings in volume are can be really helpful. So you can see here, once it gets through the 37 and a quarter area, and again, we wind up with another bottoming tail. You short under there, and then you're looking for the next area of 20 and a quarter. And then if it gets through there, then you're looking down here around, the 7,500 area. And again, it's based on the analysis that we did, right? It doesn't quite tag that, but, comes close enough. And then on the upside, you'd be looking for topping tails. Now, obviously, if you have a very strong downtrend, you're probably not going to be trying to buy it. But just knowing where those volume openings are and capitalizing on those bottoming tails and topping tails can be really telling in taking a breakdown or a breakout trade. And I'll show you one real quick on ES. So I know this is hard to see, but I just scrunched it up so you can see the volume over here on a 15-minute chart. So you can see we have the opening in the volume here. I used 85 because that was under yesterday's low area, because you can see the opening in the volume actually is a little bit higher, but realistically, you're not looking to take a breakdown just above the previous day's low. So we actually had opening from 85 to 77, but you can see right here, even though there's not a lot of volume built up, and I'm just going to scroll over to the left here. Even though there's not a lot of volume built up when we look at, all those days at once, it doesn't look like there's any volume between 85 and 81. But if you look back, we did have some consolidation there. So what I would do is I would mark the area where you have some consolidation. And if you scroll back in Sierra, you'll be able to see the, the volume as it's forming. So we've got 85, 81 and a quarter. So now if you look at it on a 5-minute chart in those areas, you can see that we wind up with a bottoming tail here on the 5-minute after the open. It's been holding that area, but we've got 85 marked and 81 and a quarter marked. So ideally, you could look to short under that bottoming tail. Now I'm going to admit that, I don't trade ES a lot, and I've never taken a breakdown or a breakout on it. I'm usually doing pullbacks or buy support, sell resistance, but because the volume opening is there, and once it started to move, you could take your entries. It doesn't have to be on a 5-minute chart, but just knowing that you've got this bottoming tail on the 5-minute chart, you could look to short under that, expecting a reaction at the next high volume area at 81 and then 77. And then don't forget to look at the daily chart. If you look at the daily chart on the NQ, basically right where it turned around, obviously it busted through a whole lot of support. It basically could not get to the next area of support on the daily here at 98 and a quarter. And if you look at ES, same situation. It turned around right at an area of support. So always having a clear view from a larger frame chart and knowing where the volume is can be very beneficial in taking any kind of trade. Okay, so I hope you find that helpful, you guys, and I hope you have a great day.